Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for June 7th. We are looking at the US-Japanese yen pair. This pair surged to the upside, closed higher. We are looking for it to continue in that direction, at least short term. Look for some resistance up around the 79.95 mark. Look for some support around 79.15. Now the Euro-USD pair. This pair surged to the upside, ran into previous areas of resistance, pulled back, closed lower. Look for this pair to potentially go as high as 126.76, possibly as low as 124.54. Look for some resistance around 126.25 and look for some support around 125.00. Now the pound US dollar pair surged to the upside, pulled back, still closed higher. Look for it to potentially go as high as 156.48, possibly as low as 153.73. Look for some resistance around 156.05 and look for some support around 154.25. Now the US Swiss, this pair moved to the downside. It went down as well, closed lower. Went down, hit support, and then moved higher and closed higher. Look for it to potentially close as high as 0.9696, possibly as low as 0.9452. Look for some resistance around 0.9650 and look for some support around 0.9525. Okay, now as far as news analysis go, we do have some news announcements for tomorrow at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. We have the Japanese bankruptcies for May being released. Consensus on that is that no consensus previous was negative 6.7%. Then at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, we have the pound releasing their Bank of England inflation for the next 12 months projections. No consensus on that. Previous was 3.5%. Then at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, we have Canada releasing their net change in employment and their unemployment rate as well for May. Employment, they're showing a drop from 58.2K down to 5.0K, showing a hold for unemployment at 7.3%. Then a little bit later in the day, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Chinese releasing their consumer price index for May. Consensus on that one is that it has dropped just a hair from 3.4% down to 3.2%. Producers price index for May for the Chinese showing a slight decrease from a negative 0.7% down to a negative 1.2%. Could be negative news for the Chinese on that one. Okay, well, let's take a look at some stuff. This is a little bit different than what we normally do. I want to go through and look at some of the pairs on a little bit longer time frame, on a shorter time frame, longer term. So 15-minute chart over several days. Remember that each time period from one dotted line to the next is a full 24-hour period. So we have a trend line that's tagged twice over at least two time periods, running this trend line up, looking for a close below it to go short. So that's the US-Japanese yen. The Euro-USD has just broken through. We have one, two, just broken through. It'll be interesting to see if we continue, get a continuation of that drop. Pound, you can see our trend line here and here, touched it, looking for it to move lower. And the US Swiss, here's one where we have it breaking to the upside as well. Prefer to have these trend lines touch at least three places, but at least two with two time periods. New Zealand US dollar, trend lines touched it almost three times, a little bit further there, but it has dropped, not quite 30 pips is what I typically look for, but nonetheless it's getting down to that point. It's about 25 pips to the downside. Here's one in the US, in the Australian US dollar pair. You can see it a little bit closer. We did get a close after it touched our trend line numerous times to the downside. You can see here, once we get a close below it, 30 pips is right about here. 30 pips, it's gone as low as 26. 30 is right here. So we should see it over the next couple of 15-minute bars go ahead and break through that 30 mark and head on down to our other long-term trend line that we have. Some of those trend lines are actually from other pairs, but this one isn't right here. So looking for it to come on down to this point. So that is one way to use trend lines to effectively gauge where the market is going. Let's take a look at one more. It's the U.S. Canadian dollar pair. You can see we have one that's triggered as well. Moved to the upside. This one's gone up about 12 pips from where we have an entry, and risking 30 and looking for it to come up to this point, which would be roughly from where it is now about a 28 pip, 26 pip profit there. Well, I hope that helps, and until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.